Brothers and sisters, there are moments in life when you feel as though the world is closing in on you. You try, you pray, you cry, yet nothing seems to change. You start to wonder, why me? Why is life so difficult? But let me remind you of something powerful. Your struggles are not a sign that Allah has abandoned you. They are signs that Allah is preparing you. Every hardship you face has a purpose. Allah never burdens a soul more than it can bear. If you're going through something heavy, it's because Allah knows there is strength within you that you haven't discovered yet. My brothers and sisters, sometimes Allah allows the door you're knocking on to remain closed, not because He doesn't want to give you what's inside, but because He wants to protect you from what's inside. And sometimes He allows the door to open late because He loves you too much to give it early. Allah's timing is perfect. Remember His promise. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Not after hardship, with it. Right now, at this moment, while you feel low, while you feel stuck, the ease has already been written. It's already on the way. You just haven't seen it yet. So be patient. Keep calling out to Allah. Every dua you make moves you closer to a breakthrough. Even when you think nothing is changing, Allah is changing things you cannot see. My brothers and sisters, some of the greatest blessings you will ever receive will come from the most difficult struggles you've ever faced. The pain that breaks you today could be the very thing that strengthens you tomorrow. The tears you shed in private may be the reason for a joy you experience in public. Allah knows, Allah sees, Allah hears. Never underestimate how quickly He can turn your situation around. One moment you are lost and the next He guides you. One moment you are struggling and the next He opens a door you never knew existed. One moment you feel empty and the next He fills your heart with peace. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't let a temporary difficulty make you forget a permanent promise. Allah will make a way, even if the whole world tells you there is no way. Your Lord is the creator of ways. Stay patient, stay grateful, and stay connected to Him. Your blessing is coming, not because you deserve it, but because Allah is the most merciful. And when it comes, you'll look back and realize the struggle that once made you cry was the very reason you grew. The hardship that once broke you was the very reason you strengthened. And the journey that once scared you was the very path that led you to your blessing. May Allah make your struggles a means of elevation, and may He grant you a way out from every difficulty. Ameen. Struggles are an inseparable part of the journey of every believer. And understanding this truth is one of the most liberating realizations a person can reach. When we begin to see hardships not as punishments, but as purposeful and divinely crafted experiences meant to shape us, our entire perspective of life changes. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, does not place a burden on any soul beyond what it can carry. This means that every challenge we face is tailored perfectly for us. Our personality, our capacity, our future, and even our hidden potential. Nothing is random, nothing is accidental, and nothing is meaningless. When a believer is tested, it is not because Allah dislikes them. On the contrary, it is often a sign that Allah loves a person and intends goodness for them. When you look at the lives of the prophets, those whom Allah loved the most, you will find that their lives were full of trials. They faced rejection, loss, illness, loneliness, and hardship. If struggles were a sign of Allah's anger, the prophets would have lived the easiest lives, but they didn't. Their challenges were intense, continuous, and at times overwhelming to any ordinary human being. Yet they held firm. Why? Because they understood that struggles are part of Allah's divine plan. They knew that every hardship was drawing them closer to Him, strengthening their patience, purifying their hearts, and elevating their ranks. When Prophet Ayub endured years of illness, he didn't complain against Allah. Instead, he used his pain as a means to remain connected to his Lord. When Prophet Yusuf was thrown into a well, sold into slavery, and imprisoned unjustly, he didn't lose hope. He trusted that Allah was preparing him for something greater. And indeed, He was. In the same way, every struggle you face has a reason behind it. Allah knows what you do not know. Sometimes He takes something away from you to protect you from harm. Sometimes He delays something for you to grant it at the perfect moment. Sometimes He puts you through a test to strengthen your character so you can handle the blessing that is coming later. What you see as a setback may actually be a setup for something better. Your heart may be crying over what you lost, while Allah is preparing to give you something far greater. The challenge, however, is to trust the process even when you do not understand it. When a believer sees their struggles as part of Allah's plan, their heart becomes calm even in the midst of turbulence. This does not mean you never feel sadness or anxiety. Human beings naturally feel pain. Even the prophets felt pain. But what sets a believer apart is that their pain does not break their connection with Allah. Their hardship does not cause them to lose faith. Instead, it pushes them closer to their Lord. It softens their heart, makes their dua more sincere, and increases their humility. A struggle that leads you back to Allah is not a punishment. It is a blessing in disguise. Many times people think that ease means having no problems, no obstacles, and no worries. But true ease is when your heart is at peace, even while the world around you is difficult. This is why people who are spiritually connected often endure immense hardships with remarkable calmness. They know that Allah is watching. They know that Allah is with the patient. They know that Allah sees every tear, understands every worry, and hears every dua. They live with the certainty that nothing slips from Allah's knowledge and nothing occurs without His permission. If struggles were meaningless, Allah would not mention them so frequently in the Quran. But over and over again, He reminds us that we will be tested with fear, loss, poverty, grief, and hardship. And yet, in the same verses, He gives glad tidings to the patient. This teaches us that hardships are not signs of misfortune. They are opportunities to rise in the sight of Allah. Through struggles, Allah teaches us to rely on Him fully, to surrender our worries, hopes, fears, and dreams to Him. He teaches us that we are not in control. He is. And when a believer internalizes this truth, they find freedom. Sometimes your struggle is there to guide you towards something you would never have discovered without pain. A difficult moment may push you into seeking knowledge, seeking help, seeking community, or seeking Allah Himself. A heartbreak might lead you to the Quran. A setback might push you toward a new path in life. A loss might strengthen your empathy for others. A failure might teach you resilience and humility. Allah knows exactly what each soul needs in order to grow, and He gives you the test that will mold you into a better version of yourself. Even the smallest struggle carries wisdom. The delays you experience teach patience. The disappointments you face teach acceptance. The obstacles you encounter teach perseverance. And the moments of deep sadness teach you the true sweetness of turning to Allah. When you understand that your struggles are part of Allah's divine plan, you stop questioning why me and start saying, "Oh Allah, guide me through this." You stop feeling abandoned and start feeling accompanied. You stop fearing the unknown and start trusting the one who knows everything. Every difficulty is temporary. Every struggle has an expiry date. And every believer who remains steadfast will eventually see blessings unfold in ways they never imagined. Allah never tests you to break you. He tests you to build you. And when you emerge from the struggle, you will realize that the pain you endured was not a punishment but a path that led you closer to your Lord, purified your heart, and prepared you for blessings far beyond what you could have planned for yourself. The promise that with hardship comes ease is one of the most comforting and hope-filled assurances given by Allah to the believer. It is not merely a statement of encouragement, it is a divine guarantee written in the Quran. When Allah repeats something twice, it is to settle it deeply in our hearts. He tells us not once but twice that with every difficulty there is ease. This means that ease is not something that arrives after the hardship ends. It is something already present within the hardship itself, even if we cannot recognize it at first. Often our pain and stress blind us to the hidden mercy woven inside the difficulty, but Allah assures us that it is there. When life becomes heavy, hence situations feel overwhelming, and when the path ahead seems dark, it is easy to believe that Allah has placed us in hardship without any relief in sight. But this belief comes from our limited vision. We see only the immediate challenge, but Allah sees the entire journey, its beginning, its end, and every step in between. What looks like a mountain to us is a stepping stone in His plan. What feels like a setback is often a setup for something better. What appears to be a moment of breaking may actually be the moment Allah begins to rebuild you in a stronger way. There are times when ease comes in a form we don't expect. Sometimes it comes as a person who offers support at the perfect moment. Sometimes it comes as clarity after months of confusion. Sometimes it comes as inner strength you never knew you possessed. At other times the ease is hidden. A sin being wiped away, a heart being softened, or a future difficulty being reduced because you are facing something now. You may not recognize these forms of ease immediately, but when you look back later in life, you will see how the hardship refined you and how the ease was there all along, quietly guiding you through. Consider how Allah designs life. No night lasts forever. Every sunrise arrives right on time. No winter stays. Spring always follows. This is how Allah teaches us that every season has a purpose and every difficulty has an end. When hardship enters your life, it does not come alone. It brings ease with it as part of the same package. This is why believers are encouraged to stay patient. Not because patience magically removes pain, but because patience allows you to wait long enough to witness the ease that Allah has promised. Often the problem is not that ease is absent, but that we are too focused on the hardship to notice it. We look for big breakthroughs and miss the small blessings like the fari end who checks on us, the strength we feel after crying out to Allah, the wisdom we gain from the experience or the increase, humility that makes our hearts softer and more receptive to faith. These are all forms of ease. The heart that turns to Allah during difficulty is already experiencing a hidden mercy, because the greatest ease is not the solution to the problem. It is the peace that comes from knowing Allah is with you through it. When a person loses something precious, they often feel that nothing can replace it. Yet Allah can bring something into their life that heals them in a way they never expected. This transition from loss to healing is also part of the ease that follows hardship. Sometimes the ease is emotional, sometimes it is spiritual, and sometimes it is material. Allah distributes it according to what the soul needs the most. If the ease came too early, we might not appreciate it. If it came in the wrong form, we might misuse it. So Allah, in His perfect timing, lets the hardship reach its appropriate point, not to crush us, but to prepare us. There are moments where hardship pushes a person to pray in ways they never prayed before. Their dua becomes deep, sincere, and filled with longing. That connection they build with Allah in the midst of difficulty is itself a priceless ease. Many people discover their strongest faith during their darkest moments. When the world pushes you to your knees, that is the best position from which to pray. And when Allah hears those heartfelt prayers, He responds in ways far greater than simply removing the difficulty. He grants guidance, wisdom, maturity, and spiritual light that remain with you long after the hardship is gone. Another important dimension of ease is that it is often tied to growth. Just as muscles cannot grow without resistance and plants cannot rise without breaking through the soil, souls cannot. Deepen without challenges. Hardships stretch us, refine us, and reveal parts of our character we didn't know existed. The strength you gain after a test is a form of ease. The resilience you discover is a form of ease. The wisdom you carry forward is a form of ease. Allah's promise is not only about the external solution, it is about the internal transformation. Even when you feel alone, Allah is closer to you than ever. He is watching how you respond, how you persevere, and how you maintain your faith. And when the moment of relief arrives, it comes beautifully and completely. The believer then looks back and realizes that the hardship was a journey towards something greater. What you saw as a problem was a process. What you saw as a delay was protection. What you thought was the end was actually a beginning. So hold on. Your hardship is not empty. Your difficulty is not ignored. With every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of confusion, and every step you take while struggling, the ease is already written. Trust Allah's promise, because His promise is certain, and the ease He has prepared for you is coming exactly when you need it most. When a believer faces hardship, the strength that carries them through is not merely patience alone. It is patience coupled with trust in Allah. These two qualities, Sabr and Tawakkul, work hand in hand to open doors that a person could never open by their own effort. Patience steadies the heart, while trust in Allah lifts it above fear and uncertainty. When both are present, something remarkable happens. Allah begins to create openings, ease, and pathways in ways the mind could never have imagined. A believer learns through experience that the door they were desperately pushing on may not open, but Allah can simply guide them to another door they never knew existed. Patience is not passive. It is not sitting in silence. Waiting for life to change on its own. True patience is active endurance. It is the ability to hold firm to faith even when the world feels chaotic. It is continuing to pray even when the answer seems delayed. It is restraining yourself from hopelessness, anger, or despair. It is controlling your tongue, your emotions, and your reactions, trusting that Allah is aware of everything you are going through. Patience does not mean you feel no pain. It means you don't let the pain turn you away from Allah. Trust in Allah, tawakkul, is a powerful form of worship. It means believing with certainty that Allah will never abandon you, even when circumstances look impossible. It means relying not just on your efforts, but on His divine wisdom. Tawakkul does not cancel effort. You still try, work, strive, make decisions, but after doing your part, you surrender the results to Allah. You accept that whatever the outcome is, it is guided by His mercy and His knowledge. This surrender brings peace. Because once you trust Allah, you stop fearing failure. You begin to understand that even a setback can be a form of protection. Even a delay can be part of a greater plan. When patience and trust are present within a believer's heart, Allah's help becomes near. In moments where others feel lost, the believer who trusts Allah feels held. In situations where others panic, the believer who practices patience remains calm. This inner stability is not from themselves. It is from Allah strengthening their heart. Just as Allah granted patience to Prophet Ayub during his years of illness, just as He strengthened the heart of Prophet Musa's mother when she placed her infant in the river, Allah strengthens all believers who rely on Him with sincerity. Allah often delays solutions not to punish us, but to teach us. When you feel you are being tested again and again, it is because Allah wants you to. Grow into someone capable of receiving the blessing He has prepared for you. Many times, Allah withholds something because if it were given at the wrong time, it could harm you or lead you astray. The believer who trusts Allah understands this and does not rush the decree. They trust that when something is meant for them, it will arrive with ease and blessing. It is through patience that your soul becomes refined. You learn resilience, gratitude, humility, and compassion. Hardship softens the heart and removes arrogance. It makes your dua sincere. It pushes you into prostration and reminds you that you are dependent on Allah. Without hardship, a person may become distracted or distant. But when life becomes heavy, people remember their Lord. And Allah loves the hearts that return to Him. Through trust in Allah, you gain spiritual clarity. You stop relying on your limited understanding and start relying on His infinite wisdom. You begin to see life not as a random series of events, but as a carefully crafted journey designed to bring you closer to Him. This clarity brings a type of peace that hardship cannot destroy. Even if the situation remains difficult, your heart feels protected because you know Allah is with you. One of the most beautiful experiences a believer can have is witnessing how Allah opens doors after they have held on with patience. Sometimes Allah brings a solution suddenly, in a way you never expected. A problem you carried for years can disappear overnight. A worry that kept you awake can be lifted in a single moment. A fear that haunted you can transform into a blessing that brings joy. This is how Allah works. He can turn darkness into light instantly, but He often waits until your heart is ready to appreciate the blessing. Other times, the opening is subtle. Allah might gradually ease your burden, improve your situation, or guide you to payo. Please, who can help? He might bring clarity where there was confusion, or strength where there was weakness. These small improvements, step by step, are also His openings. Not every miracle is loud. Some miracles are quiet transformations within your heart. Patience and trust also protect a believer from hopelessness. Shaitan whispers that the situation will never change, but Allah reassures the believer that relief is near. When you trust Allah's plan, you silence those whispers. You remind yourself that the one who split the sea for Musa, the one who saved Yunus from the belly of the whale, the one who protected Ibrahim from the fire, is the same one who is watching over you now. He has not changed, and His mercy has not diminished. Some of the greatest blessings in life come at the end of the hardest trials. When you look back, you realize that the struggle shaped you, strengthened you, and brought you closer to Allah. Had the hardship not come, you may never have prayed the way you prayed, or grown the way you grew. You may never have discovered inner strength, learned valuable lessons, or purified your intentions. What felt like a burden at the time was actually a path towards something better. So when you face hardship, hold on, be patient, keep trusting. Know that Allah is not unaware of your tears or your efforts. Know that nothing you endure is wasted. Every sigh, every moment of restraint, every painful night, every whispered dua is witnessed by the most merciful. And when you combine patience with trust, Allah will open a way for you from places you could never imagine. Through struggle, He elevates you. Through tawakkul, He carries you. And through His mercy, He delivers you to a place of ease that makes you forget the weight of what you once endured. When a believer raises their hands and whispers a prayer, something magnificent happens, even if nothing else seems to change at that moment. A dua is never ignored by Allah. Not a single plea, not a single tear, not a single word that comes from a sincere heart is ever lost. Allah hears you, sees you, and knows precisely what you are asking for, even before you say it. This reality alone should fill the heart with comfort, because when you speak to Allah, you are speaking to the one who has full power over everything and whose mercy exceeds all boundaries. The problem many people face is not that Allah is silent, but that they expect the answer to appear instantly and in the exact form they imagined. But Allah, in His perfect wisdom, responds in the way that is best for you at the time. That is best when a child insists on something harmful. A wise parent does not give it simply because the child is crying. Likewise, Allah does not respond based on our emotions alone. He responds based on His infinite knowledge of what will benefit us in this world and the next. Sometimes He gives exactly what you ask for. Sometimes He delays it. And sometimes He replaces it with something far greater. Every answer is an act of mercy. Every delay is protection. Every redirection is guidance. And every silence is filled with hidden wisdom. There are times when a believer cries in sujood, asking Allah for a way out, begging for clarity, pleading for change, yet the situation remains the same. In such moments, shaitan tries to whisper that your dua is being ignored, but this is far from the truth. One of the most dangerous tricks of shaitan is convincing you that your prayer is pointless. The reality is that Allah is closer to you in those moments of brokenness than you could ever imagine. When your heart is soft, when tears are flowing, when your voice trembles in dua, those are the moments when you are closest to your Lord. The acceptance may not manifest immediately, but the spiritual closeness itself is a gift far greater than you realize. Every dua you make sets a chain of events in motion. You may not see them, but Allah is always arranging, adjusting, delaying, removing, and preparing things for your benefit. Sometimes the thing you are asking for requires your heart to be strengthened first. Sometimes it requires other people's hearts to be softened. Sometimes it requires certain events to unfold before the blessing becomes suitable for you. Allah is not merely giving you what you ask for. He is preparing you to receive it properly without it harming you or leading you astray. Blessings given at the wrong time can become burdens, but blessings given at the right time become sources of peace. One of the deepest comforts in Islam is knowing that Allah responds to dua in multiple beautiful ways. When He gives you what you ask for, it is a direct mercy. When He delays your prayer, He is testing your patience and drawing you closer to Him. When He replaces your request with something better, He is showing you His care. And when He saves your dua to reward you fully on the day of judgment, He is honoring you in a way that worldly solutions never could. Nothing is lost, not even the dua you whispered half asleep, nor the one you made walking down the street, nor the one your heart made silently when your lips couldn't form the words. Sometimes the answer to your dua comes as a change within yourself. You may ask for a problem to be removed, but Allah gives you strength to endure it. You may ask for a burden to be lifted, but He gives you patience to carry it. You may ask for clarity, and He gives you calmness instead. These inner transformations are some of the most beautiful ways Allah responds, because they reflect His understanding of what your soul truly needs. Often, people make dua repeatedly for the same thing, and eventually feel tired. But the truth is, your persistence itself is a sign that Allah is listening. If your dua was truly ignored, it would leave your heart. The fact that your heart keeps returning to the same request is itself a sign that Allah is drawing you toward that path. Even the Prophet encouraged believers to ask repeatedly, because repeated dua means repeated connection, repeated hope, repeated reliance, and repeated remembrance of Allah. A believer must realize that dua is not just a tool for obtaining worldly results. It is a conversation with the Lord of the worlds. It is an act of worship. It is a shield against calamity. It is a light during darkness. It is a rope that binds your heart to Allah. Many times Allah delays the acceptance of your dua so that you continue to call upon Him. He loves the sound of your voice when you speak to Him sincerely, especially when the world has disappointed you. There are du'as you made years ago that Allah has already written for your future. There are du'as that will be accepted at a moment you least expect. There are du'as that Allah has protected you through without you ever knowing. You will look back one day and realize that the delays, the twists, the rejections, and the unexpected turns were all parts of a bigger plan that your heart simply wasn't ready to understand at the time. So continue making dua with certainty. Do not let impatience extinguish your hope. Speak to Allah with sincerity. Trust Him fully and know that your heart's whispers have already reached the one who is closer to you than your jugular vein. Your dua is never ignored. It is always heard, always valued, and always answered in the most perfect way. Tests in life have a way of exposing who we really are. They peel back the layers we hide behind, revealing strengths we never recognized and weaknesses we never acknowledged. When Allah allows a harsh IP to touch your life, it is not because He wants to break you. It is because He wants to reveal something powerful inside you, something that you may only discover when everything else is stripped away. Strength is not built in comfort, it is forged in struggle. Diamonds are formed under pressure, steel is strengthened through fire, and the hearts of believers are purified through trials. What you perceive as a breaking point is often the very moment Allah is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. Every test teaches you something about yourself that you didn't know. You may think you are weak, but when difficulty strikes, you find a patience you didn't expect. You may think you are alone, but when hardship arrives, you discover a relationship with Allah that you never truly appreciated. You may think you cannot endure something painful, yet Allah carries you through it in a way that surprises even yourself. Without trials, you would never uncover these hidden treasures within the soul. Hardship is like a mirror. It reflects your true level of faith, your character, your habits, and your inner resilience. Many people live years without realizing their potential because they have never been pushed to their limits. But when life suddenly takes a difficult turn, you start fighting, you start praying, you start reflecting, and you start growing. This transformation does not happen in moments of ease. It happens when the heart is shaken, when the eyes shed tears, and when the mind wrestles with uncertainty. Trials force you to look inward, face yourself, and come out on the other side stronger than before. They bring the type of wisdom, humility, and maturity that cannot be taught through lectures or books. It has to be lived. One of the greatest strengths that emerges from hardship is emotional resilience. When you face a situation that seems unbearable and you endure it with patience, the heart expands. What once overwhelmed you no longer does. You begin to handle problems differently. You stop reacting impulsively and you learn to respond with calmness. You may not realize it while you're going through the test, but each tear you shed is watering the seeds of emotional strength within you. By the time Allah lifts the hardship, you find yourself transformed. The things that used to crush you no longer have the same power. Trials teach you how to stand firm, how to think clearer, and how to hold on to faith even while everything around you feels fragile. Another strength revealed through hardship is spiritual depth. Many people only discover the sweetness of prayer during their most difficult moments. When life is easy, the heart can become distracted, distant, or careless. But when life becomes heavy, people turn to Allah with sincerity. The dua becomes deeper, the sujood becomes longer, and the heart becomes softer. Through difficulty, Allah reconnects you to Him in ways you may never have experienced. The strength you gain through this spiritual closeness becomes a permanent part of who you are. After a hardship, you often emerge with a stronger relationship with Allah, a deeper reliance, and a clearer sense of purpose. Tests also reveal strengths of character, qualities like patience, compassion, humility, perseverance, gratitude, and self-control. These traits cannot be developed in moments of ease. You learn patience when you have no choice but to wait. You learn humility when you realize you cannot control everything. You learn compassion when you experience pain yourself. You learn perseverance when giving up is easier, but you choose to continue. You learn gratitude when you lose something and then realize its value. Hardships refine the character like fire refines gold. They remove arroga, NCE, entitlement, and pride, replacing them with wisdom, gentleness, empathy, and sincerity. Another hidden strength that emerges from trials is perspective. When everything is going well, people tend to magnify the smallest inconveniences. But when you experience something painful or life-changing, your outlook matures. You stop complaining about minor issues. You stop comparing your life to others. You stop chasing unnecessary desires. Your priorities shift. You begin to value the people around you, appreciate the blessings you once ignored, and see life with clearer eyes. This new perspective becomes a lifelong blessing, a steady compass guiding your decisions and improving your relationships. Struggles also awaken inner courage. There are people who fear everything, loss, change, uncertainty, until life forces them to face these fears. Then over time they realize they are stronger than they imagined. Hardship teaches you how to adapt, how to survive, and how to grow through pain. It teaches you that you can endure disappointment, overcome sadness, and rebuild from nothing. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is walking through fear while trusting Allah. Many people discover this courage only when difficulties push them to their limits. Perhaps one of the most powerful strengths that emerges from hardship is self-awareness. When life is challenging, you begin to understand your own heart, its vulnerabilities, its desires, its weaknesses, and its needs. You recognize what drains you and what nourishes you. You see what kind of people uplift you and what kind of people pull you down. You learn what truly matters to you and what never really did. Hardship clarifies your identity and polishes your soul. By the time the trial is lifted, you no longer resemble the person you were before. You emerge wiser, stronger, and more connected to Allah. This transformation is one of the greatest blessings hidden within hardship. You may not appreciate it while you're in the storm, but once the sky is clear, you will recognize the strength that was planted and nurtured within you through difficulty. What once felt like it was meant to break you was actually building you. Tests reveal your strengths, and through them, Allah shapes you into someone capable of carrying the blessings He has prepared for you. When you look back at your life, you will notice that the moments that transformed you the most were often not the moments of ease, but the moments of breaking. It is in the cracks that the light of Allah's mercy enters. The realization that Allah's planning is always better than our own begins to sink in when life pushes us to the edge. It is only when you feel that there is no door left to knock on, no person left to call, no strength left to draw from, that you begin to understand the meaning of Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for us and He is the best disposer of our affairs. At that point, Allah teaches you something precious. The real source of rescue is not in the creation, it is in the Creator. The path you thought you needed may not have been good for you, but Allah replaces it with a path you never imagined. Sometimes in life, Allah removes people, opportunities, or comforts from you not to punish you, but to redirect you. If He did not close that door, you would have walked into something harmful. If He did not distance you from certain individuals, you would have relied on them more than Him. If He did not shake your world, you would never have discovered the strength inside you that you did not know existed. Allah's wisdom is such that He does not allow your heart to settle in a place where it does not belong forever. He wants your heart to ultimately belong to Him. And this is why, even when you do not, you understand the long nights, the unanswered du'as, the delays, and the losses. There is a hidden mercy unfolding behind it all. Every struggle you go through is written with precision. Nothing you face is random, nothing is accidental. Every tear you shed is known to Allah. When your heart aches at night and you say nothing to anyone, thinking no one will understand, the one who created your heart knows every unspoken word. He hears the dua you make in frustration, in exhaustion, in silence. He hears the dua you whisper when you feel embarrassed to even ask. And He hears the dua that never reaches your lips but remains trapped inside your chest. Allah does not ignore the sincere servant. You may think your dua is delayed, but in reality, it is being prepared for the right moment. Allah gives you exactly what you need, when you need it, and in the way that is best for you, even if you do not recognize it at that time. One of the most powerful lessons in faith is learning that when Allah withholds, He is actually giving. He withholds because the timing is not right. He withholds because the person you want is not meant for your soul's journey. He withholds because He knows that what you desire would hurt you in ways you cannot currently see. And He withholds because He wants you to detach from worldly illusions, so that when He finally gives, you will appreciate it purely, without arrogance, without entitlement, and with a heart full of gratitude. The separation between your dua and its answer is merely a space of growth. Allah delays not to disappoint you, but to build you. He delays to elevate you. He delays so that when the blessing arrives, it does not break you, but rather completes you. Struggles are not a sign that Allah has abandoned you. They are a sign that Allah wants to raise your rank. Think about the people who Allah loved most, the prophets. Their lives were full of hardship, rejection, loss, tests and challenges. And yet they walked with unshakable trust in Allah. Their peace did not come from the absence of struggle. It came from knowing that every struggle was crafted by the most merciful. So when you face hardship, do not say, why me? Say instead, oh Allah, guide me through this as you guided those before me. Hardship is not a punishment, it is a purification. It is Allah washing your heart, polishing your soul, and preparing you for something greater. The heavier the test, the greater the purpose behind it. You may not see the wisdom today, but one day you will look back and understand why Allah placed you exactly where you needed to be. You will thank Him for ignoring the things you once begged for. You will thank Him for protecting you from what you thought was good. You will thank Him for every delay, every disappointment, every detour, because each one was carrying you toward a blessing you could not have reached on your own. The struggle you are facing is not the end. It is the doorway to a better chapter. Allah never takes something from you without giving you something better in return. It may not come in the form you expect, but it will come in the form you need. And when that moment arrives, you will realize that the path you cried over was the path that shaped you. The loneliness you experienced was the loneliness that taught you to rely on Allah. The hardship that made you fall was the hardship that taught you how to rise. And the blessing that you receive in the end will not be just a blessing. It will be a reminder that Allah was with you through every step, every stumble, every prayer and every tear. From struggles to blessings, Allah will always make a way. In the end, every test you have faced, every moment of fear, every tear that fell, and every silent prayer you whispered has been part of a journey designed by the one who loves you more than you can comprehend. Nothing you endured was wasted. Nothing you survived went unnoticed. Through every rise and fall, Allah was carrying you, shaping you, and preparing you for what was written especially for you. When you look back, you will see that the struggles you thought would break you were the very struggles that built you, refined you, and drew you closer to your Lord. What you once saw as obstacles were actually stepping stones, and what you saw as delays were divine protections. So walk forward with a heart full of trust. Even when you cannot see the path, rely on the one who created it. Even when you feel unworthy, remember that Allah's mercy is far greater than your flaws. And even when life feels heavy, remind yourself that ease is already on its way, because Allah Himself has promised, indeed, with hardship comes ease. Your story is not finished. Your tests are not punishments. They are invitations, opportunities to rise higher, to deepen your faith, and to witness the beautiful ways Allah turns pain into purpose and struggle into blessing. As you continue your journey, carry this truth in your heart. The one who brought you through every difficulty is the same one who will open doors you never imagined. You are never alone, never forgotten, never abandoned. Allah is with you, guiding your steps, strengthening your heart, and preparing a future filled with goodness. Trust Him, hold on to Him, and you will see from every struggle, Allah will make a way. And from every hardship, He will bring a blessing far greater than what you prayed for. Thank you, everyone.